So happy you guys are all here. I think there's a bunch of people in the room that I have not met before. So if I have not met you, I am Heidi. I'm Pastor Randy's wife. I don't often have the mic, so you don't often see me up here, but that's who I am. Nice to meet you. And I am going to introduce this next little section of the service tonight. We have been in a short little series on Nehemiah that we called Catalyst, which a lot of us went to a retreat this weekend to finish out this series. How many were at the retreat in the room? There was a lot. There was a lot. But for those of you that were not, we're going to kind of recap a little bit of how this weekend went and the lessons that we've learned throughout this series that we've called Catalyst. So we are excited you're here. And I'm just going to start out with a little bit of what God spoke to me. And then I'm going to pass the mic on to a few other people who are going to share what God spoke to them. And then we're going to gather in groups and tell each other. Because I think one of the cool things is when God speaks to you, it's important to journal it, to write it down so you don't forget it. And it's also important to share it because you may have learned something that your friend needs to know. And also by sharing it, you cement it in your heart. So I'm going to start out by saying that when I got back on Tuesday morning, I opened up my Bible to Psalms 9, and I was reading in the Message, and this is what I read. And it summarizes so completely what I felt all weekend that this is how I'm going to start. I'm thanking you, God, from a full heart. I'm writing the book on your wonders. I'm whistling, laughing, and jumping for joy. I'm singing your song, High God. And I share that because throughout most of the 24 hours we were away, I felt so much gratitude in my heart to be able to be there with you guys. We have been at this church for 21 years. We have worked with many, many, many different groups of young adults because they come and go, and you come and go, and you move, and someone new comes. And this group right here is unique in so many ways. And I feel like this time that we have with you is so special. And so I congratulate you on your passion for worship, and I congratulate you on your dedication to reading the Bible and talking about it with each other. And I congratulate you on being welcoming and friendly and outreach focused, because over our time here, that hasn't always been the case. And so I spent the weekend so thankful that I got to see you all being such dedicated, devoted Christ followers and exemplifying the fruits of the Spirit that I saw in you. And I'm also grateful because the divine God, the creator of the universe, who is so holy, which we all saw in worship so many times, he allows us to participate in what he's doing on the earth. We don't have to. He could do stuff without us. We know he could, but he allows us to participate. And so I stood there thinking so often in the back of the room how grateful I am that he chose me and that he chose you to do what he wants to do on the earth. So I am whistling, laughing, and jumping for joy and singing my praises to God because he is almighty and he is good, and yet he still wants me to help him. And that's what I learned. And so now I'm going to hand the mic over to Zach, who's going to come and share his lessons.
Hey, so I was asked to share on a moment that really impacted me this last weekend, and it's funny I get to go out to Heidi because it involves her. And it was during the last service, during the first worship set, and I was just in the back of the room just watching the room worship and just began to be just so thankful to be in this community like this that's just not scared to just worship the Lord. And I was just doing that, and then I just got in this intense moment of just thanking him for everything he's done in my life, everywhere he's placed me in, all the opportunities he's blessed me with. And then a moment just came where I was talking, but no words were coming out, just sound. And I got to a point where I just couldn't thank him enough. And then the Spirit just told me to go find Pastor Heidi and just have her thank him for me, because I don't have the words, but she does. So I went to her, and it was funny because when I went to her, I told her what's going on. Like, I just don't have the words to thank him, and I need your help. And he told me to come find you. And she was like, I'm gonna need you to repeat that. And at first it was because it was so crazy to say, but it's because she was having that exact same moment, and the Lord just brought us both together, and she was able to just speak some powerful words over my life, and she was just able to speak just some powerful words over my life that just moved me like so incredibly. But the real moment came later that night when I was just thinking about the moment and like just being so thankful and full of gratitude. And the moment just came like, that should be my heart posture like 24/7, because, you know, he's the same God in my good days and my bad days. So, and, you know, he's not changing. So that's just what I learned the most is I should be full of gratitude 24/7, because it's the same God. He's not changing. My circumstances don't define how good he is. So that's all I can take from it. And I'm just thankful for you all, just being able to just accept me how you accepted me, just making me a part of your community. So just thank you all, truly.
Yeah, that was really funny, because I was literally thinking the same thing, and he came and, you know, he's tall, and so he leaned over to tell me, and I was like, what? Say that again. But yeah, it was really cool. It was a really cool God moment. I think also because I had spent, and I told him this later, I woke up that Monday morning, and I was trying to take a walk with Jesus, but there was this bumblebee flying around my head, so it cut my walk really short. But I was just thanking God for the blessings that he had put in my life, and I told him, at some point today, would you give me the opportunity to share what you blessed me with someone else? And so I kind of spent the whole day just looking for some way to encourage somebody, and I never really felt like that prompting. You know, I saw different ones of you going around to people during service and praying with each other or talking to each other, and I thought, that's cool. I don't really feel like, I looked at all of you. At one point or another, I was like, is it him? Is it her? Who am I supposed to talk to? And so I finally just was standing there in worship, and then Zach came directly to me. I was like, okay, that's how it goes. Anyway, Leanna.
Hey everyone, I'm Leanna. It was really cool. This retreat was just super, super awesome. The Lord has been like really teaching me lately about putting a lot of my trust in him and like fully surrendering areas of my life to him that I still have a hard time surrendering. And I'm constantly learning to do that daily, especially today was one of those days. But it was just really cool. Like the series have been talking about building like our life and having like a firm foundation within Christ and letting him be like the center point of like which we run to and like which we put our hope and our trust in. And so this week it was just really encouraging for me as somebody who's been going through that to like be a part of this series with you guys, but also seeing y'all like surrender things to him as well. It was just a beautiful moment of like just watching you go over to the wall and just writing down things of like, I want to go deeper in his word. I want to go deeper in prayer. Like it was just super encouraging. And something that was like really special was like our breakout session. And there was, I think 5 of us girls who like shared brief moments of what like the Lord has been teaching us. And it just kind of all fit together beautifully of like everyone is really like actively pursuing the Lord with all they have. And just watching you just bow down and worship and just fully give him everything, even though you may not completely know what that looks like. I sure don't either. But like it's just beautiful to do it together. And to know that you're not alone in it as well. Like there's people who are like want to be a part of your life, who want to encourage you, to uplift you. Like if you don't know how to fully read the Bible and the Bible scares you, because sometimes it's a little bit much to like understand and fully grasp, but like there's people around you who would love to help you and to like dive deep into his word. So I don't know, that's just like something that like was really encouraging for me, is just like seeing all of y'all together, just surrendering different things to the Lord and actively pursuing him. So, yeah.
Thank you, Leanna. And Wilton is going to come share next with us.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, well, okay, I got it now. So, we went on the Catalyst retreat, and I'm going to be completely transparent. When I started off the retreat, I was really angry. I was really sad at the same time. I didn't really want to go to the retreat when I got to that point. Like, we were riding up to go to the retreat, and I was really at a place where I shouldn't have been at, especially considering where I was going. And I was carrying that spirit with me all the way to the retreat. And then what had happened at the retreat was something that I didn't think would have happened. Because, quick backstory, like, the last few weeks for me have been really tough. I haven't been, like, even though everyone around and the people around me, like, experiencing the presence of God, I hadn't really been experiencing the presence of God. Like, I know it's around, but I didn't really felt it, honestly. And I told a few of my friends that, and I was like, honestly, I didn't really feel it. But even though I didn't feel it, I'm still trying. And then I had moments where I was just by myself and I'd feel really lonely to a point. And then I had a friend encourage me about the fact that the Catalyst retreat was coming up. And I didn't remember this until, of course, after the retreat because I'm still angry, sad, mad, and everything at the beginning. But then what happens is we get to a point where we're praising, worshiping, and get to a point of silence. And I'm on the floor right now. I'm bowing down. I'm worshiping. And what I feel inside the room is that presence that I was looking for the entire time. And when I feel that presence, like, I could, like, he was so tangible inside the room, Jesus himself, and I could feel him walking. Now, when he was walking, the thing was, I was getting a little desperate because he didn't walk towards me. That was the thing about it. When I felt him walk, we had a stage in front of us, and I was like on the right side of the stage with a bit of space. But where he walked was on like the left side, and he touched someone, and he just kept walking through. And whilst I was worshiping, like I was crying desperately just for him to touch me. But inside that moment, he didn't, because I think myself, I didn't have what I needed inside that moment for him to touch me. And I didn't realize that until like the last day, well, the following day of the retreat. And during that time, because over the retreat, I felt more at home. I felt more of a community. I like completely got rid of the feeling of loneliness. Had people prayed over me, had people around me, had that fellowship, and it was totally awesome. And in the last phases of us worshiping, it was in that moment where I was kneeling on the ground, and his spirit, Jesus himself, he moved again. And in that moment, he was standing right above me, touched me on my shoulder. And that was a special experience that I wouldn't even give up for anything inside this world. And that was just so amazing. And the whole time, I know Pastor Randy and everyone else was like, at this retreat, you're going to feel the presence of God. And I'm really that type of person, like, I haven't been feeling the presence of God. And I go into this retreat, I probably won't feel the presence of God. But inside that moment, to actually feel it and, like, tangibly, and it happening, it was just so, like, like, it was just so awesome that I can't explain it. And then just walking away from the retreat, like, I saw so many things inside those 2 days than I did over the past, like, 3 months. And that in itself was just a magical, well, miraculous experience. So thank Jesus, thank God, thank all of you guys for the great community.
Thank you, Wilton. And Jacob is going to come up here, I think, and tell us something.
Thank you, Heidi. This weekend was awesome. Can I hear for the weekend again? Come on. It was awesome. Yes. There was incredible expectation at Catalyst. I don't know if you sensed it or felt it, but there was some incredible things that happened there. And I really wish that those of you who weren't there could be there. We're definitely going to start planning one for next year. We're going to look into that. Probably making promises I shouldn't right now, but we want to make it happen. Yes. As some of you know, my job situation right now isn't the best. I'm not where I want to be. I have a great job, a decent job, but it's not where I want to be. And the last couple weeks, I've watched some really close friends of mine jump into different careers and jobs that they've been dreaming for. And I'm like, Lord, when's my time? When's the next opportunity for me? And really kind of internalizing that. And this weekend, I felt so at peace that God was going to work out my job situation. And even just the words that I remember so clearly were, I haven't forgotten you, Jacob. I haven't forgotten you, and your story's not over. And then just today, I had an incredible interview with a place that works with young adults called Immerse. You may have heard of it, so we may be going forward with that. So definitely an answer to prayer. And one of the verses that really stuck out to me this weekend as we were just kind of spending some extended time with the Lord was Joshua chapter 1. And what's happening here is Joshua and the Israelites are about to cross over into the land of the promised land. And these are some of the first words that God says to Joshua. It says, I will give you every place where you set your foot. As I promised Moses, no one will be able to stand against you at all the days of your life. And as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. And it was just an incredible time this weekend to be reminded of that, especially in this situation. It was also the second thing that went through my mind was I've been to multiple retreats before. A lot of you have been to the deepening or youth camps, and you know that there's incredible expectation and incredible hype when it comes to worship. And it just reminded me once again that we don't need a Catalyst worship team or an over-the-top service to jump into the presence of God. We can do that right here and right now. This is evident that we get to usher in the presence of God when we come in this room. It's not the band, it's not the team. They're great. They do an amazing job. But it's up to us to usher in the presence of God and to be about that. And not just to get hyped. When we jump up and down, it's not just because we want to get hyped. It's because God is doing something here. And we get excited about it. And we jump up and down. So that's it.
We have one more person coming to tell us what they learned from God this week, but I just wanted to remind you all, God speaks in such different ways to different people. So I believe all of you have a testimony, and I'm excited to start to hear some of those stories come out from our group, not just from those of us who have the mic tonight. So Daniel, would you come up here? Let us know.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, guys. It's been an amazing weekend. We've already gotten to hear, so many really cool stories from the people who have been up here. One of the really defining moments for me this weekend, it came from something that Pastor Randy said, and it was actually when he was talking about his calling on his life, and it kind of translated weirdly to me, and it really convicted me. Because he said, my calling isn't so that you get here on Wednesdays and Sundays and are worshiping God, but my calling is that you are worshiping God every day for the rest of your lives. And that really convicted me, because I sat there and I stewed on it and I thought, and I was in the back of the room and I was like, well, do I give God as much time and devotion and energy as I do on a Tuesday that I do on a Sunday or a Wednesday? And it really, really struck deep in my heart, because I realized I don't. When I come here, when I come on Wednesdays and Sundays, I give everything. I give my entire mind, my entire devotion, my entire focus to God. When I'm sitting here and our worship team is leading us, just like Jacob said, when our worship team's leading us, when Pastor Randy's speaking to us, speaking into our lives, I'm fully devoted at that time. But am I devoted on a Thursday afternoon? And I came to the conclusion that I wasn't. And so it really, really, really convicted me. And I just sat there and I was like, well, God, please forgive me. And I sat there in a state of repentance saying, I'm sorry, forgive me. Why would I be so stupid as to not give you the same devotion that I do at a big event like this where everybody's hyped and everybody's feeling the presence of the Lord than I would on Friday in my own personal time. And I realized, well, I'm basing it all on feeling at that point, which that's just not how that works, guys. We don't base our relationship with God on feelings alone. Feelings are a big part of it. I love feeling the presence of the Lord sweep over this room when we're raising our hands together in corporate worship. There's not a lot of things like it. But I also know that in my own time, when I'm conversing with God, when I'm reading the Bible, when I'm studying His Word, I have to be just as intense, just as intimate, and just as devoted in those times. And I think part of that is sharing what each of us experienced. And so tonight, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something a little different, something we don't usually do, but we're going to split into groups. So in just a second, we're going to split it into groups. We're going to turn our chairs around. It's going to be chaos. I get it for just a second. But guys, have you been to the last couple of services we had? They have been nothing but chaos. And the Lord has still moved, right? So here's what I want you guys to do. Can you hold up the number 4? Number 4 on your hand in the air, okay? That's how many people you have in your group. 4 people, okay? Not 12, not 16, 4, all right? Everybody say 4 people. 4 people. So here's what I want you to do. Get up, move your chairs in circles, get into groups of 4, and I want you guys... Hold on, see, you're already doing it. Give me just a second. Let me explain stuff, guys. I'm gonna explain it. That's fair. I did just say get up. My bad. That's on me, guys. That's on me. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Tell the people in your group, share something that God has been doing in your life the past couple of weeks, whether it's been at Catalyst, whether it's been through Unite, or your own personal time with God. Share in your groups of 4 what God's been doing in your life, okay? And we'll come back in just a couple minutes and pray together.